When I think of June's Plan With Me, one word comes to my brain, and that is plants. So if you're ready for some green vibes, then you're gonna like what I have to offer you today. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. I use their all-in-one platform for my own site, and I'll be chit-chatting more about them in a little bit. And if you've been feeling like your weeks have been starting off a little bit sluggishly lately, then I invite you to join my Monday morning weekly newsletter. Sign up link can be found in the description box below. But I share weekly challenges, and each newsletter is themed. We tackle like different areas of life each month. There's motivational quotes and lots of other things. So yes, link below. Let's get into it. If I had to describe the inspiration for this month's spreads, it would be plants. I guess with summer season approaching, I was feeling really a desire to sprinkle some fictional nature into my planner. I'm starting off the month at a glance by drawing a mini calendar with the fine tip side of my Tombow dual brush marker. It'll be linked below along with everything else I used today, including my dotted journal that I adore so much from Art Journal Olive. After making the calendar, I started going in with a green Tombow marker to start drawing in the leaves. One thing that I did really love about creating June spreads is how much I used markers. The color I use in spreads is usually minimal, so I don't get to do a whole lot of experimenting with blending or shading, and although my skills are mediocre at best, it was still really fun to do. I used 2 to 3 different shades of green for all the plants you'll see me draw in this video, and I do feel like using a few different shades helps add a bit of dimension to your doodle, and because plants are a natural thing as well, any imperfections that you make with any of the colors just really add more life to them. Instead of using simple straight lines to divide up the page with sections to mark down important dates for the calendar, I opted instead for some wavy lines with a blush pink Tombow as a way of sneaking in another color. My Sharpie S gel then got brought out to make titles for the sections, and I wrote out the titles along each wavy line to help weave more black evenly throughout the page. Decided to sprinkle in some line confetti in there just to fill in some of the white space, and at that point the wavy section that held the calendar felt like it was missing something, so I just played around with some writing and created a spot to write down mark down plans here with a fun arrow. This honestly has no other purpose than to make my eyes feel a little bit more satisfied because there was a little bit too much white blank space happening. If you are a regular viewer of my Plan With Me videos, then you probably know that every bullet journal video is accompanied by a blog post with photos of all of the spreads I create. I mean, look at this photo of the month at a glance spread you just saw me draw out. She's a stunner. My blog, CaitlinDeSilva.com, is run using Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes starting, designing, and updating a blog of my own easier than ever. Squarespace has a vast array of beautiful templates to choose from, so your website can look clean and professional without the help of a graphic designer. I use the template Stanton for my site, but there's also templates that have been optimized for online stores, portfolios, and more. Basically, if you've been wanting to start a blog sharing your love for coffee, or looking for a place on the web to share your portfolio of work with potential clients, then look no further. You can check out squarespace.com today for a free trial and use the URL squarespace.com/Caitlin'sCorner to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain when you're ready to launch. A 30-day month always gets me excited to create habit trackers, so much so apparently that for June's habit trackers, I decided to make all 3 take up an entire page. So each habit tracker for hydration, movement, and meditation has a 3x10 large grid. Again, I'm using the fine tip of my Tombow dual brush marker to draw this out so that the habit tracker grid really stands out, especially once I start filling it in throughout the month of June with a regular pen. It'll still feel nice and bold. Plant vibes kept going with this right page. I really only intended this page to be a spot to write down a little motivating quote, so I used a majority of the page to draw out a giant leaf in a slightly different style than the one from page 1, but using the same colors. This leaf probably ended up being my favorite plant doodle I drew in this Plan With Me. Something about it was just very satisfying for my eyes. I think it's because I took that extra little step for shading and adding a little bit of black. I then used the same blush pink from the Month at a Glance's wavy lines to draw out some splashes of color onto the spread to fill in the white space. On top of that, I used a black marker to write a quote that says, "Movement is the song of the body." Hopefully this is a quote that when I see it, I will feel immense motivation to go hit up my yoga mat on days when I'm not really feeling like hitting up my yoga mat. I've really been adoring these more scenic spreads I've been experimenting with in 2022. We've done a desktop and a shelf, and this month we tackled the outdoors. You might be able to start figuring out that this first doodle I'm sketching out on the left page is a window. I wanted the scene to feel as if you were looking at a photo of a side of a house, meaning a window, a hanging plant, and some bricks, aside from just being imagery that reminds me of suburban life, which as a city gal instantly makes me think of slowing down and being mindful, very peaceful things. I also feel like windows have such interesting symbolism. When you're looking at your house from the outside through a window, you get to see a space that you're so familiar with in this very unique perspective that you don't see on the day-to-day. So I love that this visual is subtly reminding me to keep exploring new POVs in my life. The left page is a spot for me to record some highlights from the month that I don't want to forget about. I left enough space to write down 3 unique memories, and below that list is a small area for me to record books that I read in June. The right page is really special because in June, one of my plans is to do a financial check-in with myself. This is an opportunity for me to regroup financially. I think it's so important to do these kinds of check-ins every quarter or every 6 months to monitor your spending habits and track progress you're making with financial goals. In my case personally, I have a decent amount of receipts to sort through, so getting all of those organized and filed away will help alleviate some stress in my life. I'm really tired of finding piles of receipts conveniently hidden under books or tucked away in random drawers, if you know what I mean. I guess I kind of kept the scenery vibes going with this week at a glance spread because I doodled a snake plant on the left page with sprinkled in bookshelves. If this snake plant is kind of looking familiar to you, it's because I am attempting to duplicate the snake plant in my living room that can often be seen in the background of videos and photos here on the channel and on my Instagram account. My snake plant, Wilma, is my favorite plant in my apartment at the moment, so much so that I bought another snake plant that is much smaller, who I've named Pebbles. If you know what I'm referencing with these plant names, let me know in the comment section down below. The bones of the spread are pretty minimal though. Each day of the week gets its own little section to write down a mini to-do list, and each day is divided up by some black lines. Of all the spreads I created this month, I feel like the financial check-in is the one I'm most excited about, not even because of what it looks like, but because I know that that is a task that is going to feel really satisfying when it's completed. If there's any specific personal finance related videos you'd like to see, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd also love to hear which spread this month was your fave. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to click that link in the description box below to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. This plan with me is really inspiring me to consider adding more plants to my apartment, which I probably shouldn't do. Why shouldn't I? Why really shouldn't I? Plants are great. I sometimes kill them, but they're great. Like the video if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and I will see you all very soon with a new one.